Hello guys! Today I have a very interesting Fusion 360 video. I am going to start with an article on the Autodesk forums. Let me see. This is very similar to the problem I have. This is from 2018, but this article has received no reply. I don't know if the guy actually found a solution to this or what. But I thought I would try and help this guy anyway, because I had a similar problem yesterday and I managed to fix it. So the article is called Automatically Update Sketch Constraints that are referenced to different part. And he says, I have a design with multiple parts. Many of my sketches for individual parts are based on dimension references to other part features. For instance, let's say I have part A and part B and I'm trying to sketch something on a face. Face of part A, and I want to create a dimension constraint 5 mm from the edge of part B. My Fusion 360 is automatically set up to project this reference feature to a projection line in the current sketch plane. This is very, very, very important to understand. He's projecting to a sketch plane. That is, he's not using a what the hell is it called again? He's actually not using a plane. He's designing straight. It's like he selects a face of the sketch and then he constructs it, as far as I know. I don't think he's using a plane offset on that sketch. If he is, then it's better for him, because that is what he needs to do with what I have found. Let's see. The issue that has taken up so much time thus far is when part B is updated, part B is moved, the overall size of part B changes. I get warnings on all the sketches where impacted by the change because their previous projection line is no longer consistent with the current location of part B's feature. Normally you would use something called manage projections when you update a projection that has fallen out like this. There are videos on that on YouTube. I go to resolve this issue and all my previous projection lines have turned green to become fixed lines, and new purple project lines are automatically rendered to place the new position of part B's feature. In my example, I did not get new projection lines. And this is what actually solved it for me, because I did not know what these green lines were. But when I read that these are fixed lines, it explained to me why I could not get visible manage projection lost projections. Because there is an option called manage lost projections, and that means that the projections you have, they will show up as yellow. And then you can manage those projections. But the core of the issue is that let's say you have two objects, and you on this one you project from this plane onto this other one, and if you then move the original source of the projection, that in 3D space, that reference to that projection placement is no longer valid. So what happens is that the other one, hard with left and right, the other one where you have the projected lines will turn yellow, and normally you can manage those projection lines, but in certain cases that is not the case. Then instead of updating or giving you yellow lines so you can change the projections, it makes the earlier projected lines into green lines, and they have no projection information. It is basically fixed lines. It's like you're making a design in your own sketch and you constrain it and it becomes black. But you can if you have a constraint or something you cannot constrain, you can right click it and you can select fix, that line will become green. Now, this was very important for me because I did not understand why I could not get the option for managing lost projections when I had the problem I had. Now, after I did this, I really struggled. I just did not, I felt like giving up because I could not understand why Fusion, as advanced as it is, cannot manage to understand that it should just move the projected lines with the plane. And I'm going to show you, this might actually help this guy as well. So I'm going to make a comment there later and have him watch this video. So I have this design. If you watch my earlier movie, I made this design here with these sketch items so that they all go through this reference point that is here. This is the only point that is constrained at start. So everything else can move if I change this value or this value. So this value controls the direction here, and this value controls section here. Now, the problem for me was that after I made the placement of this, I took the sketch and redid it from a different version of this sketch. I discovered it was like 15 millimeters off, so I need to move it. I need to move it up 15 millimeters, and I'm going to show you now what happened, what caused this to me. So originally I went in, I figured out what the value should be, and I just want this to be a clean number, so I went and did like this, and I did minus. Hang on, I'm just going to check that it's in the correct state. Yeah, okay. So notice now all everything here is showing, okay? And what I suspect is that the other people who have problems with this, they are doing it the same way. They are changing the value like I did without making changes to the timeline. So I went in here and edit sketch, and then you go in and you say, okay, minus 15.60 blah blah blah. Okay, notice everything shifts up a little bit now, and that is correct. That's what I want. Okay. Hang on, I'm gonna regret that, and I'm gonna. So you can see this is the shape, and I just want to move everything up, but I have used a lot of designs, like here. You can see that the sign is originally. I'm just gonna show you. Let's see. Edit sketch. So I designed on top of the face here and here, and these are the lines that indicate where I should do the next bends. Okay, so that is the main problem I faced afterwards, because what I did was I went in to the original sketch like this, and I said, okay, I want to change this value here because I just want to move them up a little bit. So I want to move it up 15 millimeters, but I want the new value to be clean, so I just did like this, and then I pressed OK. And you can see here it creates a lot of faults, which is understandable. The next thing I think, okay, I'll just fix the faults. So I start with the furthest one away. This should be this one, and this one should be that one, and this one should be that one. These are the bends. Okay, so I'll go in and I start with the first bend, edit feature, and I remove it first. I'll say OK. There, and I bend it. That's okay, and you see a lot of them fixes themselves then. Okay. And then I go in and say, okay, edit this. Just want it straight for reference. Click, and then I want this, okay. And then I want this, edit, move it, and OK. But you can see here that now it's locked in the up position. And what you cannot actually see now is if I show, let's see here, just second bend lines for the hooks. And you can see here what happens is that it is unable to recognize that these lines here for the whole sketch is supposed to go backwards. So it loses the orientation to this. And if I try to go and edit these, they don't have an orientation that fits. I'm not sure right now why this is happening. Yesterday I did only get it as green lines. It didn't change like it did now. But the point is, it's a lot of work if you want to try and realign these to the correct positions. So now it's actually projected lines. Maybe I can. I don't have any manage lost projection points here, I think, because then yeah, I have something here. Manage lost projections. Phase 1. This is just something else. So there is nothing here that lets me fix the other projections. That is the problem. Even though these are not green now, the problem should be fixable for the green line as well. What I had yesterday was that when I did this, these lines became fixed lines. They were no longer projections. Currently they are actually showing as projections. And edit sketch. My fix is that you can actually manage to fix this and not move the placement of the lines. There are some key features to doing this. So I'm just going to revert all my changes back to before I went in and top, let's see, before I did that movement. Okay. So this is the design before I did any kind of movement at all. If you go in and you roll this one, we can try that one instead. Let's say I want to move up 15. Maybe that's when I get let's see. Edit. Oh, it's still showing as projected. Okay. So I'm back here. I haven't changed this value yet. If you get your sketch items offset like that, it is because you're trying to change a reference with all the other references, even later in the timelines, affecting what comes first in the timeline. So Fusion tries to calculate everything in the same operation. But what I found is that one, you cannot do this, what I'm trying to do, if you are designing directly on the face of an object. So you need to use a plane on the face of that object. And then you need to make the sketch on the plane, not the object itself. So everything needs to have been designed on planes sketches. Because what happens is that I can show you. Let's see if that is the one. Nope. Nope. This. Here you can see I have a plane that I used on the surface where I made the lines sideways. And a plane will follow the object when you move it. But if you move an object in a sketch and you did not use a plane and you try to bend it, and it will fold the object, like in this case I'm using sheet metal, it will make a bend in the wrong direction. So the whole object just goes out of whack and you cannot make it into the correct position. I did a test of this yesterday and it just doesn't work. When you have to use a plane on the face, you have to make a sketch on that plane. And lastly, if you want this to work and you want the geometry to follow the projected geometry, you have to suppress all the features after the sketch that you are changing. So you cannot just hide it like now. You have to manually select it. Like this is the sketch I need to fix. And then I go in and I say, okay, I need to mark all of them and suppress. That is basically you're removing Fusion's ability to calculate all the other things in the same operations. And now when I go in and select edit sketch, and I'm going to let's see if I can find that plane. Where was it? I think it should be this one. Nope. No, it comes later, sorry. If I now go in and I change that value, minus 15, let's see, I want that one as well. $15. Then it moves that up. And then I press finish. What happens now is that it's thinking that this is as far as you came in the design history, so it hasn't calculated or done any updates of any later projections. So what happens then is I enable the next step, which is the extrude, and now it will extrude based on the position of the sketch where it is. Okay, and then I go in and I say, okay, I want to unsuppress the first bend, and I get an error because it cannot reference. That's fine. Edit, feature, delete that, and say okay there, and I want to bend it there, and okay. And I do this for the others as well. And suppress, and then I edit that feature, and then I go in and I say, okay, I want to bend that as well. Okay. I'll do the last one. We are getting close to the climax here. There. The reason it's erroring out, you can see it's sort of marked the correct line, but the reason it's erroring out is because in 3D space, what I actually said before is that where the line is that it bends is actually around here, because in 3D space that's where I moved it from. That's where it loses that reference, and there is no cutout, so it cannot find the references. So you have to make those re-referencing like this. Okay. So what I have done now basically is I have suppressed all the other features and I have moved the design up a little bit, and then I will tell Fusion that I want the plane on this surface. I will start on the bottom one here. Okay, so I will unsuppress the surface I used, and as you can see, it apparently follows and it bends everything correct now. And the reason it does that is because if I go into this sketch, edit sketch, now you can see that the lines actually follow the plane that I originally made. So it is able to move the sketch items with the projections that was before. So if you have a reference where you lost the geometry to the side or something like that because you moved an item, so the projection is sort of lost. For me, I found the fix is to don't use the rolling of the marker of the history line, and don't try to edit it directly. Suppress everything before that sketch and then just do one and one at a time to fix it by unsuppressing each feature at a time. Fusion is then able to understand that you are working where you want it to work. So now you can see it actually bends it at the correct placement, and then I will unsuppress the next as well, and again you can see that it has found the correct reference and it has moved the plane to where it was supposed to be. And when I go and try and edit this, I can also see that here the lines are in the correct position. They are not on the sides like it was before. Subsequently, now Fusion understands that all the other bends are where they are supposed to be, because the original sketch items that reference the bends are in the correct spot. So this also works if you have a design where you feel you lose the projections and the lines become fixed. You didn't see it this time, but I had it yesterday. I don't know what's different now than from the first time I did this, because now you could see the projected lines were purple. Sorry, yawning a bit. But I really hope this can help people with moving things around, because being able to do this is saving you so much time. So instead of just trying to edit something directly, just suppress all the features so you're working in Fusion on that specific time of the sketch, and then unsuppress one feature after that, and the design should update correctly in accordance to that. But it is important that you go in like here, edit. You can see I have made a sketch plane on the surface. I haven't done the design directly on the surface. I have used a plane. And for these two, this and this, it's the same plane because they are equally on the side. If you have different objects, you need to make a plane for each of the objects. And that lets you, because the planes themselves, they follow the source of the object. And you can also go in and you can say, okay, I want to redefine the sketch plane. And then you don't redefine it to the surface, you redefine it to the plane. So you can right click the sketch, you can say I want to redefine it to this sketch plane, let's say this, and then the sketches will move accordingly. But what happens is that when you do like this now, you will see that when you suppress the features, instead of rolling the marker or just directly editing, you don't get the errors like you did before. To prove to you that it actually is an issue, I'm just gonna undo everything. So there. So here I'll just go and I'll unsuppress features. Okay. And then I'll just go and I'll edit minus you can see that it's not resolving anything because there is not a projection on it. So try to avoid editing so that you have to fix things like this. Try to always just suppress the features, because then you will be basically sort of editing back in time. Anyway, I hope that helps someone who is struggling with the green fixed lines, loss of projections, offset sketch items because you moved something. So yeah, for me that really helped me, because it meant I could actually continue with my design without having to redo everything manually or something like that. Yeah, thanks for watching again, and see you in the next one.